I would like to call to order the meeting of the Committee of the Whole for Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Switzer, Alderman Oldenburg,
Present.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Narayan, Alderman Balmer, Alderwoman Velazquez,
Present.
Chair Sanye,
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Browning,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Tyus,
Here. Present.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Present.
Alderman Aldridge,
Present.
President Green,
Present.
Alderwoman Switzer, Alderman Cone, Alderman Narayan, Alderman Balmer, Alderwoman Spencer, Alderwoman Keys,
Here.
Tim present, you have quorum.
A quorum being present, we will dispense with line items 2 through 5. Madam President, you may begin.
I think we are turning it over to Christina Garmendia from my office.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll head over to.
Okay, I'll share my screen. I'll be giving an update on behalf of the Board of Aldermen on the latest community engagement strategy update.
I'm going to bed uncharacteristically early.
Good to go. Everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Thank you.
We didn't have meeting minutes from before.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman Boyd.
Wasn't it a meeting before this meeting? Wasn't it minutes from that meeting?
Madam Clerk?
From my understanding, there are no minutes for the Committee of the Whole.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's correct as well. Sorry, Ms. Garmendia, you can continue.
Okay, and I'll try to I'll be giving a little bit of background on what we've gone through in the previous meetings anyways, so in lieu of minutes. As a reminder, the community engagement that we've had so far on the RAM settlement included the kickoff survey, which was focused on resident challenges. It was a survey of residents and it was open for 2 months from August of this year to through October. We also at the same time opened up an ideas portal so that residents and other constituents could submit ideas for how we should use the RAM settlement. And that portal will remain open through the end of this pilot that we have with Citizen Lab. The phase we're in now is, we're calling it priority challenges. And what's available now on the Citizen Lab portal is an opportunity for people to discuss the ideas we've received so far that are in line with the priority challenges that the board just passed a resolution identifying the priority challenges for the RAM settlement yesterday. So thank you all. And then what we're planning to do is, starting in January, is allow for residents to vote on ideas that they want to see the board explore further. So That'll be something that'll be opening up in January. But in the meantime, we're taking feedback on the ideas we've received so far. People can suggest alternative ideas now that they know what the direction the board is thinking in terms of how to use the RAM settlement. And this is a slide from the last time when we said the next steps back in what was our last meeting? Was it October? Where next steps were to select the priority challenges, that the board needed to select their priority challenges, and that we were going to be elevating ideas that responded to those challenges. So today I'm just reviewing what we heard from residents and from the board, what the priority challenges are. And the process of selecting what we're calling priority challenges was a combination of hearing from residents in that first challenge survey. So here's a reminder of the challenges that were most commonly reported in the survey for residents, from having car damage from poorly maintained streets to student loan debt, to having a low-paying job. So a variety of challenges that residents commonly experience as a St. Louis resident. And we also did interviews with members of the Board of Aldermen to get an update on what they thought were priority challenges for the RAM settlement. And so what was in Resolution 159, sponsored by Alderwoman Saunier, was the priority challenges that were shared by 4 or more alders. So there were 7 challenges that kind of met that criteria. That we wanted to communicate out to the public, that there's some growing consensus over how the RAM settlement can and should be used. And those priority challenges are, and I have them in this order because this is the order that they're currently in on the Citizen Lab portal. So these are the ones in order that have the most thumbs up, most support, preliminary support from residents. From improving community mobility, increasing public safety, upgrading water infrastructure, catalyzing downtown reinvestment, improving city services by attracting and retaining city workers, improving city finances, and increasing access to affordable childcare. And of course, when you talk to an individual alder, there's a lot of other interests and a lot of other priority challenges, but these are the ones that are shared by 4 or more alders. And so, like we previewed last time, the next step is really, what are the ideas that would lead to generational change for that priority challenge? And so what we've been doing over in the president's office has been compiling the ideas that we've heard so far, submitted on the portal that are related to these priority challenges. And so I'm going to go over those with you now. And we're trying to summarize them. So there's a lot of detail in here that if you were to go to the portal, you can click on the individual ideas. You can click on a link and see what people have been posting related to that. But today I'm just trying to summarize it so we can get to community discussion and aldermanic discussion. And so far, if I had to summarize the ideas that we've heard about things the city could do with the RAM settlement to improve community mobility, is pave and restripe streets, invest in traffic calming and pedestrian-friendly street design, adding protected bike lanes, improving public transportation, and completing sidewalk networks. The ideas we've heard so far on the portal for increasing public safety are hiring more public safety staff, including police officers, building new or maintaining existing public safety facilities, purchasing technology for police, implementing crime prevention through environmental design strategies. So this is something like focusing on improving vacant lots and maintaining vacant lots. That's something at landscaping, lighting. These are all crime prevention through environmental design strategies. And then investing in youth. Ideas we've heard so far for catalyzing downtown reinvestment, the city could repair infrastructure such as streets and the sewer system. We could improve downtown streetscapes through lighting, beautification, shade, and bike lanes. We could subsidize real estate development from new construction to rehabilitation. Establish grant programs to incentivize small businesses to locate downtown. And create new public spaces such as parks or pedestrian-only streets. So again, these are all ideas we're hearing from residents. We haven't vetted any of these ideas or priced them out yet. For upgrading water infrastructure, the city can replace or rehabilitate water infrastructure. And we can install city water meters at residences recommended by the adopted 2013 sustainability plan. We can preserve the city's water towers, or we can increase funding for the sewer lateral replacement program. For improving city services, specifically around city worker capacity, to hire and retain city workers, so city can increase wages or salaries of city employees, offer retention bonuses to city employees, provide down payment assistance for city employees, or provide daycare for city workers. And the ideas we've heard so far around improving city finances, that includes leveraging the rent settlement funds to attain additional or matching funds from other sources. We've heard about a redevelopment fund and having the city use this fund as a collateral backstop for redevelopment and supporting development projects. We could invest the funds and spend the interest to supplement ongoing projects from infrastructure. And people had a lot of different ideas here for how we could spend the interest, but from infrastructure to technology improvements, workforce development, demolition of deteriorating buildings, or public transit expansion. And lastly, around the priority challenge of increasing access to affordable childcare, we heard from residents that their ideas include the city could provide free daycare for city employees. We could establish public childcare and elder care, contribute funding to before and after school care, or the city could fund in-house childcare at a Northside business incubator. So those are the ideas we've heard so far. We really welcome everyone to contribute your comments. We are reading that commentary, and what we are doing next over the course of December, we're prepping for January, where we're going to be compiling the ideas and in a way that people can vote and to show their support for the ideas that address these priority challenges, and with the goal that we have future committee of the whole meetings focused on the ideas on these ideas and the priority challenges in the spring, that we can hear more detail, we can do more vetting, give a cost estimate, talk about kind of the logistics of, is this idea feasible and is it a good use for the RAM settlement money? So that is kind of the next steps. And we wanted to give meaningful opportunities for residents to let us know what ideas that they're most interested in learning more about and having the Board of Aldermen assess. And so if you haven't joined us yet on Citizen Lab, this makes it really easy for you to participate in these engagement opportunities. But feel free to register, scan this QR code with your phone and register as a user, and you'll be getting notification and you'll be able to provide feedback on ideas and submit new ideas. And what we'd like to hear from the public today is related to ideas that address these priority challenges. And which ideas are your favorite? What additional ideas should we consider? So what haven't we heard yet? And what questions do you have about these ideas that we need to have answered, both for the board's understanding and for the public? So that's a very short presentation today, but I will give it back to our chair. Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop.
Thank you for that report, Ms. Garmendia. Seeing Ms. Milgram, the policy director from the mayor's office, I'm gonna go back to line item 4, which is report of city officials. Today, we're hoping to have a conversation about the priorities, and so Ms. Milgram will speak to the priorities of the mayor's office.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. We'll keep it, I'll keep it really brief. Really, the mayor's priority area of interest, which is something that we were delighted to see was flagged by members of the community, and is something that Christina referenced in her presentation, is the concept of a municipal endowment fund. The idea with this fund, and this is something that will sound familiar to folks who've been attending the past couple of committees of the whole, is investing a portion of the RAM settlement funds into an interest-bearing account that will grow over a number of years, stable growth, long-term growth. And the idea being with the interest from that fund, using that interest to address a variety of projects of need that meet the city's needs wherever they happen to be at that point in time. So it's something that, spans across, subsequent administrations and multiple generations to come, gives the municipalities that do this sort of thing an advantage with a diversified revenue stream that a lot of municipalities really don't have access to. Municipalities are able to do this, but the issue facing most municipalities is that they don't really have the upstart seed funding, if you will, for something like this. So that's really the item of most interest to the mayor's office. And promise to keep it quick and direct. So I'll commit to that, and we'll let this process move forward for aldermanic feedback and community feedback rather.
Thank you so much, Ms. Milberg. And one of the things that we're hoping to do at the next committee of the whole meeting is actually do a presentation on the Municipal Endowment Fund and really explore what that can look like, because that did receive so much wide support. So I think that will be helpful and enjoyable to all of us, just to kind of break down the details of what that can look like.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll be happy to partner with you all on that.
Thank you. Okay, and then we will dispense with line item number 7, the process for community engagement. I do want to make sure to let folks know I've heard that there's some issues with the city's website. So if you're wanting to get the link to this meeting, it is in the YouTube link when you click on this meeting where it's being recorded. In case there's anyone who's trying to access, I know sometimes as alders, we have people that reach out to us if they have any problems getting access. I've got a couple of messages, so you can just direct them to that link on the page if they're having trouble accessing the city website. And so the meeting is now open for public comment on priority challenges. I want to emphasize again, want to stay on topic. We are going to be talking about the priority challenges that have been identified. The procedure to provide testimony is as follows. If you wish to speak, please click the raise hand icon in the function on the Zoom meeting screen. This will place a raised hand next to your name. Only people showing a raised hand will be called on to speak. When I'm ready for you to speak, I will let the clerk know, and then the clerk will move you over to the attendee list to the participation list. You'll be moved back to the attendee list once you have completed your comments. Speakers from the public will be called to speak in order of appearance on this list. Committee members may have questions after you talk. And so when you enter the meeting to speak, I will ask your name, the clerk will ask your name and get you sweared in, and each person will have 3 minutes. And we can begin.
The first speaker, I'm sorry, the first person I saw who raised their hand first is Austin.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, he declined.
Oh, okay. Liz Kramer.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. If you can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Madam Chair, are we giving them 3 minutes?
Yes, we're giving them 3 minutes and just their name and which ward they're in.
All right,
If you can
wonderful.
state your name and what ward you're representing, your 3 minutes will begin.
Thank you. My name is Liz Kramer. I am a resident of the 7th Ward. Thank you to my alderwoman and of course to the Committee of the Whole for hosting this session and for all the work that's been happening to decide what happens to these funds. I'm speaking today as the outgoing co-chair of the Community Mobility Committee. We're an advisory group made up of residents who are committed to creating a safer, more accessible experience for people who are getting around by walking, taking transit, biking, and other modes of transportation. So perhaps it's unsurprising that I'm here to speak in support of the Improving Community Mobility Priority Challenge. At our meetings and across the city from the public, we hear from people who are experiencing the devastating impacts of traffic violence. We hear the demand for quick action, the need for urgency, and we've been so grateful for the investments that have been made recently in long-term infrastructure change funded by ARPA, funded by your ward capital investments and other projects across the region. But people's lives are at risk right now, and we need to see change quickly because reckless driving is putting people's lives in danger. So for this reason, we have proposed a specific idea to pilot and create a quick build, high impact traffic calming team to address traffic calming at dangerous intersections. This is modeled on work that's happening in Cincinnati, where they've hired an in-house pedestrian safety crew that's focused on building cost-effective safety improvements. And we think the Ramp Settlements Fund is a particularly good opportunity to try this out, and that it would allow residents to see change really quickly on the order of 2 to 3 months instead of 2 to 3 years that it takes right now. We're also really hopeful that the thoughtful work on this type of program would inspire changes in the way that we work going forward, where that timeline for critical safety projects could really be shortened and we could see things that are more aesthetically pleasing and effective and could transform the way that departments operate within St. Louis in the short term. Beyond that immediate fast response, we've also proposed investment in improving the conditions for pedestrians and people using the buses along Jefferson and Parnell right now. Because that is the planned route for the future Metrolink expansion, we really believe it's important to invest in the infrastructure that won't be improved because of the Metrolink on the blocks surrounding those streets where many people live and are currently trying to access the bus system, to access Jefferson and get around safely. So that really means having complete sidewalks, curb ramps, transitions, lighting, street trees, etc. It's a really important bus transfer point, and we want to see that happen. So for any investments that happen in the Ramp settlement, we also really want to make sure that you are ensuring that there's adequate resources and a thoughtful approach for long-term maintenance and work towards sustainable funding mechanisms for the long-term infrastructure needs for all of the priority challenges for St. Louis. So thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Kramer. Madam Clerk, we can proceed with the next speaker.
The next speaker is Malik.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Malik, can you please raise your right hand?
Mhm.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Please state your name and the ward you're representing, and your 3 minutes will begin after that.
My name is Malik Lindell. I live in Ward 7 now, and I think that's all right. So I just first want to emphasize the importance of using the ARPA funds first before we use these other funds, just to make sure we're using them because it is on a time limit. And I think there are some ideas that can be used with the ARPA funds. And second, I want to emphasize the need to use these funds for public goods and services. I think it's really important that we're using it for those type of services instead of something that might be like an unproven nonprofit or a private business first. I think that should be the priority. And third, I think it's really important that we address climate justice and safe mobility when we're using these funds. And this is why I'm a big advocate for ensuring community mobility. I am a cyclist, I use public transit. So in order to get anywhere, to go shopping, to go to work, I have to rely on those things. And I would like to be able to do that safely without needing to have to buy a car. One, I don't feel comfortable driving. I already have certain health problems that might impede my ability to drive too. So I feel much safer just biking and using public transit. And I think there's other people who are in the same boat, some people who don't have a license, some people who are immigrants who might need to use public transit. And I think one thing that can easily improve transit in our region is a connected bike network. If we can create a bike network across the whole St. Louis region, which would include actual protected lanes, I know that would help me feel safer in navigating the city, especially as I've noticed a lot of drivers, they'll be very unthoughtful about how they're driving around you as a cyclist. And you're required to, as a cyclist, to be on the road. That's the general expectation, but the road isn't safe for us. There's bike lanes that aren't protected where drivers just drive through them and they don't care that there's a lane there. So I think prioritizing safe mobility is really important and should be seen as a very urgent need in our community, especially as we noticed that cyclists have been murdered, pedestrians murdered by people driving their cars. And I think that should be concerning for our community. And I think also that I would say that ties with public safety as well. And this is something, again, that can be implemented across our city in a pretty equitable manner, which I think makes it really important. So again, I'm a big on community mobility, and at the end of the day, I'll support a lot of the great initiatives, for instance, what Liz Kramer presented, but I really think specifically a connected bike network is just going to be really important and would improve mobility in our region and also could address climate justice issues. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindell. Madam Clerk, we may go to the next speaker.
The next speaker is Kirk.
Yeah. Good morning. You got me?
Good morning. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and the ward you're representing. You have 3 minutes and they will begin after you introduce yourself.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Kurt Weigel. I live and work in Ward 8. I'm Senior Vice President and Chief Downtown Officer for Greater St. Louis, Inc., the unified voice for civic-minded businesses in St. Louis. We're focused on creating jobs and driving inclusive economic growth for the 15-county St. Louis Metro. And we know that the Metro needs a strong, active, and attractive downtown for the city and the Metro to reach their full potential. We also know that strong and vibrant communities across the city are what downtown needs to drive the economy and the quality of life within St. Louis. Thank you to the Board of Aldermen, particularly President Green, for providing this opportunity to provide input, and to Chairwoman Alicia Saunier for leading this Committee of the Whole. We've learned some things from the process, among them that our residents recognize that downtown is a priority for the future. North St. Louis and other disinvested neighborhoods also have a substantial material need for infrastructure and investment. Investing in downtown and North St. Louis and disinvested neighborhoods simultaneously is a way to leverage the investment in each. And investments in downtown and disinvested neighborhoods are crucial to investing in our city's people. A St. Louis that is more walkable, bikeable, transit-friendly, and beautiful makes our city more livable and a place for people to thrive. And it makes it easier to attract and retain residents and commercial investment, and to create retail and restaurant amenities for all of us. More development means more jobs and more residents for the city. GSL's plan, called Crucial Investment in Downtown and Disinvested Neighborhoods, dedicates settlement funds to major infrastructure improvements, both downtown and in disinvested neighborhoods, the kind of public investment that will improve quality of life and help to attract private investment. It also dedicates funds to support housing and high-impact catalytic development projects that will anchor the disinvested neighborhoods and downtown, with smaller amounts dedicated to activating our riverfront and attracting more high-quality retail, both downtown and in disinvested neighborhoods. Investing in infrastructure downtown and in disinvested neighborhoods will have positive effects for all of the priority challenges that have been identified by this process. For instance, attracting and retaining city workers. We're privileged at GSL to work with many highly talented city workers, but we know the city needs more of them. The investment we call for will improve quality of life in the city so we can retain our family and friends who might feel there are greener pastures elsewhere. Furthermore, it will make it easier for our private employers to retain St. Louis talent and to attract great employees from elsewhere, because they know that all of St. Louis is vibrant, exciting, and safe. Increasing public safety. Streets that are built for pedestrians are safer for all. The best security we can provide is lots of St. Louisans enjoying themselves on our sidewalks, in our restaurants and stores,
I'm sorry, that's time.
and in our parks. Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Weigel. And for any comments, anytime, if you're not able to finish your remarks, you're always welcome to send us an email or send in any comment. And of course, we've seen some of you all's input into the portal as well.
Michelle, thank you.
So we can go to the next speaker.
And the next speaker is Todd Hillerman.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but your camera's
great.
not on.
What's that?
Your camera's not on?
Ah. Uh-oh. Okay, so can I not speak without the camera on? I have to raise my right hand.
Chairwoman Sanye, it's up to you.
You said you're unable to cut your camera on?
Well, it's plugged in. I thought it was on. Let me try to, I could fiddle with settings, but then you'll be waiting. Hang on a second.
Is there someone after
let's
him,
see.
Madam Clerk? Maybe we
I'm
can
sorry,
come.
I didn't hear you.
Is there someone after him? Maybe we can come back.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
All right, then.
The next speaker is Carol Bradford.
Okay, can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much to
I'm sorry,
Michael.
before you
I'm
get
sorry,
started.
sorry, forgot about that.
Do you
I just
swear
want-
or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and the ward you're representing. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Carol Brayford and I live in Ward 8. Is that right, Michael? Ward 9, sorry.
9.
Michael Browning, Ward 9. I'm nervous. Thank you so much for all the work all of you are doing, for everyone who's participating today to give you feedback and has participated on the portal. I so appreciate this process and all the work it's taking. I especially loved the comments by Liz Kramer and Malik Lindell about spending the ARPA money first. That sounds like a great idea. We also really appreciate the work that's been done to create the possibility of a redevelopment loan fund. We think that might be a really great way to make a lot of things happen and to stretch this money out for 20 years. I loved that idea. I liked what Liz Kramer also said about a traffic calming team following an example from the city of Cincinnati. And I just want to mention that because my husband and Tom and I have been to Cincinnati several times over the last 10 years for conferences on how to bring the concept of worker ownership to St. Louis. And we've actually been named as a pilot to bring that concept. We do job training and give people new skills, and over time they earn enough of an equity in the project, in the business, so that they can end up owning it. And the workers make the decisions right where the work is being done. It's a great idea. So I'm a long time, Tom and I are both long time climate advocates. And when the board talks about bringing generational change and transformation, I'm hearing a lot about transforming the financial part of the city. And where I'm coming from, when we look at this, we look at both in addition to financial transformation, also a key part of what we're proposing is social transformation and environmental transformation. It's in there. So when people talk about having neighborhoods get redeveloped, bringing people together in the neighborhoods of old, like we knew all our neighbors, remember that? Yeah. So that's what we're out to do. We can see that it could get financed through the redevelopment loan fund, and we can train others to continually use money over and over again to make our neighborhoods more vibrant. Investing in our neighborhoods, I just love that. And what we've proposed is called the post-carbon communities of practice, and that proposal also hits on every single challenge. It can make a difference in every single challenge. The pod cars, yes, mobility, it's wonderful. My husband spent 10 hours yesterday on a pod car conference that's being held.
I'm sorry, ma'am, that's time.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bradford. I know you said you were nervous, but you did an excellent job. I understood you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Madam Clerk, we can go to the next speaker.
I believe Todd had his camera working.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So you saw that. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, guys.
Hi, if you can raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and the ward you're representing. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I am Todd Hillerman. I'm from Ward 8. I'm a city employee. I work for the city of St. Louis in the personnel department as a recruiter. So with where I'm going with this, you may see where this is about to go. My job is to, find people in the city and now surrounding areas to work for the city and to stay there. So when I was reading on the idea sharing website about ways in which we could attract and retain more employees, that's right up my alley, obviously. And one idea that I liked, I just wanted to give mention to, was some form of financial incentive for people who want to work for the city who also live in the city. It used to be the case that you had to live in the city after a certain period of time anyway, if you wanted to be employed by the city. Well, that's no longer the case as of August. You can live in the county or you can live across the river or whatever, and that's fine. I love that. I'm glad they're doing that. But I do think that a financial incentive for people who do live in the city is good, because then, if you want to work for the city, you're like, maybe I should live there too. Maybe I should be a member of the city and not just commute there. So I liked that idea. And also, of course, I'm sure everybody's aware, I'll mention it, you're working for the government, you're probably working for, on average, 20 to 30% less than what you would get paid to work in the same job in the private sector. That kind of pay disparity attracts, it still attracts and retains those people who have buy-in into making the city that they're working in a better place. But I feel like we're missing out on a giant talent pool by having there be such a large pay disparity. Of course, I'd like to see that looked at. In addition, moving away from city pay and how to deal with retaining employees, I do like the idea of the fund. I think that's smart. It's just smart and good business. So I want to sign on to that. And I look forward to where all this discussion takes us in the future. Okay. Thank you guys for your time and for opening things up to the public.
Thank you, Mr. Hillerman. I'm so excited. I don't know if you're the first city employee to come to committee of the whole, but it's the first one that I remember. So I'm so glad to hear you, and especially
Well, yeah. Thanks. I'm all about trying to, I'm a recruiter. I have to try to recruit, try to figure out what the best ways to do it are. And if I can get a voice in this meeting, great. But thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Madam
All
Clerk,
right.
to the next speaker.
The next speaker is Rob Gibson.
Can you hear me now?
I can. We can't see you.
Okay, I'll turn on my own video. I tried doing it. Can the moderator turn me on?
It's showing that the camera is on, actually. Oh, let me ask to start video. See if did you receive something? There
Yes,
we
I
go.
just did. I just received it. Thank you very much.
If
My
you
name
can
is
raise your-
Robert Gibbs.
If you
Robert
can raise your
Gibson
right hand,
from-
please.
Yes,
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes,
Thank you. If you can state your name and what ward you're representing, and then you'll have 3 minutes after that.
yes. It's Robert Gibson from the 14th Ward.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Yeah, I did comment on a general principle that we should, I think many people mentioned that we should focus on long-term and continuing benefits, not just for our current generation, but for the future of the city. What we shouldn't do is use one-time money for ongoing annual expenses. And I think if you apply that principle, it helps clarify which issues might be more helpful in the longer run. The investment in a fund that would continue to generate income for the city is one idea that would fit very well. I think also investments in downtown. Downtown continues to be the economic engine, a major source of our tax base. It used to be viewed as wealthy and less diverse than much of the city. I think that's no longer true. I think downtown is now economically challenged and is an extremely diverse neighborhood with a vast turnover in the businesses, many empty storefronts now, but also many opportunities for entrepreneurs from a diverse population across the city. Other ideas that would fit very well with this are ideas that make downtown more attractive to outsiders. We are dependent, not only in downtown, but as a city, for visitors. And I talk to suburban people all the time, and they have a lot of misperceptions about the city, which I'm very sorry for, and we can't change that overnight. But we can invest in things that make downtown more attractive to outsiders and make them feel more secure. Certainly, traffic calming would be a good investment there. And again, a one-time investment. We're not going to solve the city's crime problems with one-time money that would disappear once we'd spend it on ongoing security services, for example. So I just want to state those general principles, and thank you very much for letting me take the time.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Madam Clerk.
Okay. The next person, I'm sorry, the last name is Collins. First initial is C.
Hi, good morning. That's me, Cortega. It's Cortega.
Cortega. If you can raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and the ward you're representing, and you have 3 minutes.
Cortega Collins, and I'm representing the Power of 10. I'm in the 10th Ward, and Shameen Clark Hubbard is my older lady. My name is Cortega Collins, and I am a business owner in Ward 10. And I just wanted to make sure that I did not come prepared to speak today, but I just wanted to make sure that at least one person was here to advocate for the investment in childcare. So first, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that as a provider in the city, I am very happy and pleased with the previous investment that we've gotten, the investment that we got during the COVID pandemic, and all of the other priorities that have been geared towards early childhood and childcare. So I wanted to mention that, but I just wanted to come on and just make a case for the investment in childcare. And I know that was one of the suggestions, and just wanted to mention how valuable and how important and investing in early childhood is. And a lot of the speakers have been talking about long-term impact and long-term effect. And I think that in using some of these funds to invest in early childhood and education will give that long-term impact. And I think the recent return on investment is $4 to $9 for every dollar that's invested in early childhood, yields a $4 to $9 return. And I also think that by investing in early childhood, that it will help to mitigate some of the effects of childhood trauma, and to identify and intervene early. Early intervention is key. So intervene and identify and intervene some of those traumatic issues that children are facing that are manifested in some of the problems that I think that we see in St. Louis City. So I just see that investment in education and early childhood and even elder care, which was one of the suggestions as well, is a great way to use some of these funds to invest in our children and the next generation. So as we are improving the city and making investments in the city, if we invest in children and families long-term, those will have long-term impacts to retain some of the issues and some of the advancements and some of the investment that we're making in the city. So I just wanted to make to support using some of these funds to invest in childhood.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Collins. I'm certainly not in disagreement with you. Madam Clerk, may we go to the next speaker?
The next speaker is Suzanne. Suzanne C. Hi.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
No problem. If you'd like to, if I can swear you in, please raise your right hand. The testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Correct. So help me God.
Thank you. If you state your name and what ward you're representing, and you have 3 minutes after that.
Suzanne Chisholm, 6th Ward. And I am so grateful that I have this opportunity to speak. I am a block captain in Tower Grove South, and I have been acting as a block captain for the last 2 years. And I've also become involved with the Tower Grove Block Captain Association. I just completed the UMSL's Neighborhood Leadership Academy, and I'd like to build on something that a number of others have shared, including Carol Bradford, about building community. And I truly believe that building neighbor by neighbor will encourage a better city overall. Years ago, 20, 30 years ago, the city of St. Louis funded training and encouraged local neighbor to neighbor block captain program. And although there are programs through neighborhood stabilization now, that's one of their jobs, is to reach out to neighbors. The actual block captain program has fallen away on the wayside. And I would like to see that be rejuvenated through education and reaching out to our neighbors and letting them know that connecting to each other does help them with their own health. It reduces crime in the neighborhood. It builds community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comments, Suzanne, for participating with us today. Madam Clerk, may we go to the next speaker?
And actually, Chairwoman, this is the last speaker so far. No one else raised their hand. And that is Emmett.
Yes, hello.
Hi. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and what ward you're representing.
Sure. My name is Emmett Catadrell. I'm in Ward 6. I just want to add my voice to those who are supporting traffic calming and speaking out against motor vehicle violence. In particular, I want to draw attention to the possibilities inherent in daylighting our intersections and bump outs at crosswalks. Preventing cars from parking too close to crosswalks is a matter of concrete, not just paint. Paint does not prevent cars from blocking crosswalks. This summer, I happened to have a broken foot for a couple of weeks, and I was walking with a boot on my foot in the Grove. And I love the Grove, love going to restaurants and shopping there and stuff, but I kept finding myself clambering around cars who were parked in front of the sidewalk ramps. And my foot is better now, but my disabled mother-in-law doesn't drive. She walks, she takes the bus everywhere. And I frankly worry about her ability to use our sidewalks and to cross our roads. Crossing roads, I worry that cars that are parked too close will prevent a driver from seeing me or seeing my loved ones as we're crossing. Whatever marginal benefit, one extra parking space at an intersection corner might give cannot outweigh the collective safety of everyone using public infrastructure. And I drive too, and I absolutely hate that feeling of edging close to an intersection when I'm trying to make a turn, worried about my ability to safely operate my car being impeded by someone else's parked car, kind of edging close, trying to go, okay, is there someone there? I can't even see. No one that I know who drives wants to strike a pedestrian or have a close call, but the built environment in many places makes it inevitable and makes it dangerous. And this is very doable. Hoboken, New Jersey managed to reduce pedestrian deaths to 0, like truly vision 0, at relatively low cost by using plastic posts to daylight crucial crosswalks and corners. I live in Tower Grove South. I love it. I love living here. I walk almost daily along Morgan Ford, going to dinner, going to get groceries, just going on a walk. And let's be real, people will not stop just doing their rolling stops through the stop signs anytime soon. I've had close calls just trying to cross the road to go get groceries, but people would stop, and they would also have more time to stop if they were able to see people who are trying to cross the road. We have paint here on Morgan Ford, and I appreciate it. I'm glad that there's something there, but people are very frequently parked right in front of it, right in front of those crosswalks, and it makes it very dangerous for everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmett, for participating with us. Totally. I think that's one of the top concerns of a lot of folks on this call and a lot of residents in our city. Madam Clerk, may we go to the next speaker? I saw we had 2 more hands up.
Yes. The next speaker is Linda. Linda, last initial S. Okay, I'm not sure she, okay, there. Linda, can you hear us? We can go to the next speaker if that's okay with you, Madam
Yeah.
Chair. Dominic. Dominic.
Can you hear me?
Hi. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand so I can swear you in.
Yeah.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and what ward you're representing, and you have 3 minutes after that.
My name is Dominic Belzotti. I'm in Ward 8, Soulard specifically. I'm just kind of speaking from my personal experience, having the kind of privilege to live in a few other cities, both domestically and internationally. And something that I see in St. Louis as having a great potential is the city structure is really amazing. But to kind of echo what a lot of other folks have said, the safety of being outside a personal vehicle is really lacking. So we don't get the same community building of passing neighbors on the street, kind of seeing people on the bus or the train as much as other cities do, because it's so dangerous to take those modes of transit. Just from walking and trying to get to the bus is dangerous, just being on foot as there's bikers driving around. So I want to emphasize the need for safer walking, biking, and etc. around the city to help us not only get to work and get to the events we're going, but to help build communities within our neighborhood as we see each other kind of outside of cars, not going 30 miles an hour, but leisurely walking or biking to our destinations. So that's all I really wanted to say, is just kind of echo the comments on needing safer walking and biking around the city. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dominic, for engaging with us. Madam Clerk, we can go to the next speaker.
And Linda will be the last speaker so far. Linda, if you can raise your right hand. And you're muted. You're on mute as well, so. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? We can't hear you. I can see your mouth, but we can't hear you. I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
We'll give it a few more seconds to see if we can get that worked out. Miss Linda, you might want to look at your function near the mute button and just make sure that your microphone and your speaker system are connected properly. No. Okay, that's okay. Hopefully next time.
If she has another device, maybe she can try to call in and we can hear her. If she has maybe her cell phone, is there a number to call in? Where we can see her, but we can still
Here.
hear. Is there a call-in number? Maybe we can place in the chat for her.
We just placed the tap in the chat. You should see it. I'm gonna send you a DM so you can see this, Miss Linda. If you can click this, you can tap this on your mobile device and it'll bring you in if you have a phone that you can pull up. Okay, so I just DM'd that to you, Miss Linda. And then if we're unable to get that worked out, then you can also always email us your comments and your testimony. Miss Linda, do you see the DM that I just sent you?
But she's at work.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm just gonna continue, but you can email us. And I did also DM you a number. If you call that number, then we can get you, we should be able to hear you that way. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward to the next part of our agenda, which is our Board of Aldermen discussion. I just want to give us a little recap on some of the priorities that were identified from the portal and that were identified in the resolution, just to kind of help guide our discussions. The identified priorities in our resolution were city infrastructure, such as streets, sidewalks, our water system, addressing 911 emergency responses, improving the city's workforce development and incentivizing our population growth, and also incentivizing people who work here to live here, enhancing the city's revenue sources and our resilience to economic downturn, and expanding access to affordable quality childcare. I just want to put that on record for all of us, and then I will just go down our entire Board of Aldermen just in order of seniority, and you all can just feel free to speak to any priorities if you have any specific ideas, if you've had a chance to look through the portal and anything stuck out to you, any of your general ideas and thoughts around these priorities. And with that, I'm just going to go in order. Alderman Vollmer of the 5th Ward. Alderman Cone of the 3rd Ward.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Not well, actually, can you go through that list again? I thought that we had also discussed transportation as an item that was going to be incorporated into these discussion topics.
Yes, and I can also just send you a quick link to the text of the resolution. It does address that in there.
I thought it did. I didn't hear it when you just went through that list, though. So I just, I think that that's certainly something, along with all of the other items mentioned, that we need to make sure that we're addressing as we discuss these funds as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alderwoman Tyus of the 12th Ward. Alderwoman Spencer of the 8th Ward. Alderwoman Boyd of the 13th Ward.
I have nothing. I've already turned it in.
Thank you. Alderman Oldenburg of the 2nd Ward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for facilitating the discussion this morning. I want to thank the members of the community. It's always important that we receive resident and community feedback, especially on something as important as this and the opportunity that is before us. I agree, and I'm encouraged to see the results that have come in around the discussion topics, the infrastructure, downtown and neighborhood investment. I think as a subcategory to that, I think we should also look at for sale housing programs and path to home ownership programs as a potential. I love the idea that someone mentioned a collateralized backstop. I think structuring all these proceeds in a restricted and unrestricted way under the umbrella of a municipal endowment where we are prudent and it's an investment for 10, 15, 30 years from now, we can still see returns coming in on these proceeds and how we better the living and quality of life of our residents in St. Louis. So I encourage this board to continue with that context of all of this being under an umbrella of a municipal endowment. We're blessed with an incredible opportunity here, and simple grant giveaways, while may be impactful in the short run and may even be necessary, I encourage us all to think much, much bigger. And I know that we are, and I know there's a lot of work and coordination between the mayor's office, the president's office, and members of this committee around that context. So I'm very encouraged today by the feedback we've heard and the presentation from the president's office, as well as those who testified. So I have nothing further. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you so much, Alderman Oldenburg. And then Alderman Cone, I wanted to just pull the specific text that talks about transit that you mentioned. There's a part in the resolution that says, whereas pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers rely on sidewalks, roads, and public transit to commute in their daily lives, but many feel unsafe doing so due to dangerous roads, reckless driving, and poor infrastructure. So that's the part of the resolution that's supposed to speak to the importance of addressing transit with as a priority in these funds. And then with that, Alderman Ryan of the 4th Ward. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard of the Power of 10 Ward.
Right, okay, good morning again, and thank you, well, good afternoon now. And I do want to echo Alderman Oldenburg and thanking the public for their participation this morning. Everybody knows how much I talk about the importance of this step in our legislative process and in our policy building process and all of that, and the committee hearings, and where that is where we can absolutely hear from our public and from our constituency basis. And I want to make sure with the glitch, I hope we might be able to give another opportunity, right? I know we do have the written testimony. Actually, today someone came up to City Hall thinking that it was in person. And so we had to try to direct him in the hallway with the marshals on how to get on. I'm not sure if he got on. If not, please submit your comments because we definitely want to hear you. Some of the notes I took that I think today were very valuable, of course, was our testimony from Mr. Hillerman. I think I'm pronouncing it right, our recruiter. That was a very valuable, some very valuable comments I think we should take into. I definitely echo the sentiments from not only this body, but my constituency base. I hear constantly about the support for the endowment fund. I like the idea of the redevelopment fund that was presented today, and the generational change, the transformational long-term change. I think, of course, everybody knows my platform around ECE, early childhood education. So that speaks to the social environmental transformation that Ms. Bradford talked about. And then a couple other notes about building community, that goes without being said, that we know if we want to make these kind of changes, we definitely need to do our part to start and do the work there. And I also want to mention that the lady, I didn't quite get her name, but she spoke about being a Black captain and how that was going away. I want her to know that through Urban League of St. Louis, Missouri, ULSTL, you can definitely engage in the Federation of Black Units, which they are working daily, not only to develop Black units, but also to train Black captains. So thank you for continuing to serve as a Black captain in your neighborhood, ma'am. And you can share that information with other constituency bases. Again, the Urban League of St. Louis Metropolitan is working. They have the Federation of Black Units under Farrakhan Shigag, and they are not only building Black units block by block, but they're also training Black captains. So thank you, and I'll continue to listen.
Thank you so much, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, especially for directing that constituent. I definitely think as we move forward, we'll think about more ways to engage folks to meet everybody where they are. Alderwoman Schweitzer of the 1st Ward. Is it still the lucky one? I think that's the same. Alderwoman Keys of the 11th Ward.
I had a little trouble unmuting. So yes, good morning and thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to thank the Alderman of the 2nd Ward, Alderman Oldenburg, his comments about an endowment, a municipal endowment, is very, very powerful. If we really want to transform our city, we need to take a look at what is long-term, not 5 years from now, but beyond of that number of years and into the future, to really bring transformational change and to elevate our city and our communities. And, you know, I'm a champion of North St. Louis. But when we talk about North St. Louis, I call it what is true North. We talk about true North. We're not talking about downtown North or, you know, downtown North Riverfront. We're talking true North Walnut Park, true North Penrose, true North. So come on, North. With some real development if we want our city to be a well-rounded city, a city that is inclusive. That is how you do it, not just focusing on our downtown, which is important, not on our central corridor, which is important, giving all due respect to all areas. But true North St. Louis needs that transformative change with a municipal endowment to really make an impactful difference on our city and to grow our city. And we're still losing population as we are on this meeting today. How do we do that? You know, it's got to stop being a place that is scary because we're focusing on certain areas and not on our city as a whole. And so my prayer, my hope, my desire, my community's hope, prayer, and desire is that we will begin to look at our city as a whole, as one city, and stop referring to anything that happens in North St. Louis as North St. Louis, whereas when it's talked about in other areas, you know, it'll be the Tower Grove or the Carondelet area, you know, and so we have a long way to go in terms of bringing true transformative change to our complete city. Thank you. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Alderwoman Keys. I'm 100% in agreement with you. I think many of the things that we're highlighting and talking about today have come into existence because at times we failed to make full investment in our city, and also, you know, to acknowledge the ways that intentional disinvestment has happened. That means we have to match that with intentional investment. Alderwoman Velasquez of the 6th Ward.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for facilitating this meeting. Thank you to the members of the public who participated and listened to us and also joined. And thank you for 6th Ward for showing up as you continue to do so. Just really want to say one, thank you to Alderwoman Keys for her passion and comments on the need for us to think of us as not just as a committee as a whole, but a city as a whole. And I think I appreciate my colleagues' comments on needing to both invest and figure out how to build a municipal, some kind of endowment fund that doesn't, it's not only investment now, but it provides an investment for our city long-term in the future. I also just want to echo, I think, what I've heard from a couple colleagues as well, that I think it's important that we, before we appropriate and spend any of the settlement money, that we do spend the ARPA money first. If we're going to make the biggest impact and be the most effective, we should know where we've already invested our money to make a better investment. So I just want to say that. And I know, Ms. Chisholm, we've been talking about the Block Captains Program. I'm going to reach out. Thank you, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, about the Federated Block Program. I think it's also a great thing. I know that's a smaller piece of this conversation, but of course, as we talk about a whole, we have to talk about the parts of the whole. So thank you all, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Alderwoman Velasquez. I really like your sweater as well. There are those comments. Alderman Browning of the 9th Ward.
Hello, and thank you. And I do believe that Alderman Aldridge actually has seniority over me, but happy to just go ahead and speak real quick. What can be said that hasn't already been said? I do appreciate all the thoughts about the municipal endowment fund, the attention to downtown, which has lost the most from the Rams departure, which is where this money came from. And the need to make our streets safer, and the need to provide for our employees, the need to have long-term better employees in our city. There's so many good things that were spoken to, and I really appreciate all the members of the public who came out to speak to that today. So I really just appreciate the venue that we've created to receive this feedback. And I want to let everyone know that we are going to really take this seriously and focus on how we can best use these funds, not just now, but to make St. Louis better in the future as well. So thank you all.
Thank you for your comments, Alderman Browning. The four of us who are all new together, we go in ranking order according to our ward number. So unfortunately, because Alderman Aldridge is of the 14th ward, he's last amongst us. But that's okay, because sometimes I say you save the best for last. So Alderman Aldridge of the 14th ward.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. If Alderman Browning, you want me move up one and not be last, and we don't go in rank of our numbers. We all pull them straws, and I got the smallest of the straw since we all got elected. But it's okay. But first and foremost, I think I want to thank Alderwoman Saunier for running a great meeting. I also want to thank Policy Director Gramindia for doing a wonderful presentation and continuing to keep all the people updated on what's going on, as well as I want to thank Casey Millbrook from the policy team, or from the mayor's office, for being here and continuing to be part of these conversations. I won't keep it long. I also want to thank everybody from the community that came out today. It was important to hear feedback. I think a lot of things that we heard today have been things that we heard before. I think one of the biggest things is definitely the endowment. I know Alderman Oldenburg and others brought that up. And one cool idea I think Alderman Oldenburg brought up is how do we also move people from renters to long-term actually owning their own home. So if there's some way that we could look deeper into that, I think that would be awesome. Transportation and street safety continues to be important. We know in St. Louis, no matter if it's a stop sign or a red light, folks just don't know how to stop, and they continue to put pedestrians and other people and vehicles in harm's way. So that is clearly, I think, a priority, not just for this board, but for the people of St. Louis. Also want to thank Kurt from Greater St. Louis, Inc. For being here and talking about the importance of investing in downtown. Downtown is a huge economic engine for the city. It is a huge attraction for when people come in and out of St. Louis. They come to downtown. It's a lot positive things going on. Anthem just invested 200 new jobs in downtown. We have the MLS soccer stadium, potential renovation at the Welcoming Center in the downtown area, as well as what Kurt and Greater St. Louis Inc. is also pushing is investing in North St. Louis too. As we talk about a one St. Louis, we can't say one without the other. And we know that North St. Louis, all of North St. Louis, has been disinvested in for a very long time. And we need to uplift those communities that have not got support and love. So as we invest in North St. Louis, it is just equally important that we invest in downtown. And again, I want to thank everybody who came out today. Also thank Alderwoman Clark Hubbard for putting that information out there on the block captains, because that is important for all our communities. If you want to get tied into having block captains, Urban League do a wonderful job under Farrakhan Shigal. And thank my colleagues for coming and participating today.
Thank you, Alderman Aldridge. Certainly appreciate both you and Alderwoman Keys for making sure that we are talking about the totality of our city and recognizing all the need for investment. And I'm not going to forget, because it's so easy for me to forget because I'm not used to calling on her, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to say that I'm really excited from everybody who testified today, and also the consensus that is building amongst the board. Just to give a little preview of where we're going, we've been reaching out through our office to some experts in municipal endowments, knowing that this is something that is kind of top of mind, because I think all of us in an ideal world would love to say, yes, we want to fund every single one of these priority challenges, right? And so the question then becomes, how do we take the money that we have and leverage it to produce further, revenue in the long term, and or use it to leverage other private or other governmental resources to have an exponential effect. So we are working on compiling that information, and the goal is in January to have some kind of experts in those areas come to our next committee of the whole meeting and present on what some options look like. What do municipal endowments look like in other places? What are some options options here? What do we think that we might be able to do in terms of an endowment that would leverage further resources for the long term? And then hopefully, once we get a better understanding of what those could look like, then we can start to hone in on some decisions about exactly how much money we think that this endowment could produce long term. So I think we're gearing up for those conversations. I'm really excited to see the place that we're in at the moment. I think there's a lot of great ideas that are coming from the public. I worked in early childhood for a very long time. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart, and something that I hear from folks on a pretty consistent basis. Just the challenges of finding any kind of childcare in our city, especially any kind of affordable childcare. And so, I was really excited to hear that. I'm really excited to hear ideas about, how we leverage some of these funds in some perhaps revolving loan funds that pay for development over time. So I think that there's ways that we can definitely use this money to leverage other funds to create returns on investment that are much higher than the $257 million that we have at start. So I think there's some exciting things to come in the new year. I'm glad that as a board we're all kind of getting behind recognizing that we need to be looking at a municipal endowment, that we're hearing more folks from the community also start to bring up that kind of topic. So in the new year, we'll be working to help get ourselves a little bit more informed on what that could look like. So thank you, everyone, for all of your attention and for getting on a meeting on a Saturday morning. And I also would like to say that in the new year, now that we have hybrid meeting capabilities set up in the Kennedy room, it's also my hope that we move these from fully virtual to being able to be in that hybrid environment. So folks that want to come in person can come in person, and folks that want to attend virtually can attend virtually. So we know that technology can vary a lot across the city. So I'm glad we finally have that up and running in the Kennedy room, and can make sure we have meetings that are accessible to a wide variety of folks in the new year. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Madam President. I first just want to thank, everybody from the community who got on this call and who's been engaging. I'm still just amazed at the amount of folks that have engaged with the portal, the amount of folks that have looked at the paper, working with the president's office to look through all of the information and all of the ideas and seeing like how much work you all put into ideas and really crafting proposals. I really appreciate that. And even now it's Saturday morning, you could be doing anything and you're on these calls. So I just want to make sure I first thank everyone for being on the call. And then to my colleagues, I want to give every single one of you your props and your credit, because I was very nervous about having to kind of identify priorities and building consensus. But you guys, almost all of you have been so easy to work with. And honestly, a lot of us have way more in common with the direction of where we want to go and what should be the priority than you would think. I know people often say politicians are not the best, especially in our city, that we specialize in silos, but I'm really excited to hear the consensus. And it does seem like we have a very strong consensus around the Municipal Endowment Fund. I know that Madam Comptroller and Madam Mayor and almost all of you are also really interested in that. So I'm looking forward to working with the President's office so that we can really dive into that idea next time on the hearing. And I also want to echo Alderman Oldenburg, your suggestion on thinking about how do we use some of this money to create a pathway to home ownership. That's an equitable policy. Most people have equity and wealth from owning homes, and we know that over half of our city is tenants. So I think that's important. I want to thank city employees and the personnel person who showed up and talked about recruitment that's named within the resolution. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I think many of our ideas can work together. We're talking about childcare. Maybe there's an idea to have some kind of childcare pilot for our city employees because people spend a mortgage on childcare. So that's an additional benefit and an incentive to work for the city. So I'm just really excited about all the ideas. And I definitely want to make sure that the community knows that we hear and we know the need to really address the pedestrian violence. And, you know, for me, it's very important that we think of our streets as something not just for cars, but for people too. So that's certainly a priority. And the only other thing that didn't come up that I always uplift to, especially now that we have the Office of New Americans, is I think thinking about, you know, all these things are going to help make the city a better city for all of us, but thinking about our immigrant population and other groups of folks and international communities and making this city, especially since we know a third of our population is about immigrants, to happen. And then also want to say that I also agree with what Alderwoman Velasquez stated, that, you know, we need to get through the ARPA funds before, you know, we spend any of these money. We're getting $800,000 a month in interest. And so that means every year that this money sits, we're getting $9,600,000. That's just adding to the pot and giving us more money to add to. So I think certainly no problem with just continuing to sit there and let that accrue. And just in general, I'm just so happy for all the collaboration, our ability to work together and build consensus. With that, I know we haven't announced our next date for the Committee of the Whole yet. We are working on putting together that panelist for the Municipal Endowment Fund. So it just takes some extra coordination. So we don't have the date and time yet, but we will certainly be making that available as soon as we can as we work on solidifying the folks who will come and really break down that municipal endowment idea. But I will entertain a motion to continue Committee of the Whole for a date and location to be determined.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Madam President and seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, or the other way around. I forgot that quickly. And with that, we can adjourn.
Can we not take a vote?
Oh.
All
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
SPLC.
opposed?
There you go.
A good weekend.